Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the next episode of the YesSHECan project. I am so happy to have the gorgeous Roz here with me today. Hello, Roz.
Hi, are you okay?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Do you prefer Roz or Rosaline?
Roz, yeah, Roz is
Roz.
fine.
Okay, more informal. We like that.
Yeah, Rosalind's I feel like a bit of an older name as well, so I'll go to that when I'm getting older. Do you know?
Okay, or when you're being told off, maybe.
Yeah, it's full name when I'm getting told off.
Yeah, definitely. So for people watching or listening, they may recognize you from the show Married at First Sight. If you could tell us like how that came about, how did you go on? What was kind of the story behind that?
So yeah, basically, I applied for the show because my ex-partner left me, and I thought, and then my horse died, unfortunately. So I feel like I was just in a bit of a sad place, and I thought,
Oh,
what can I do in order to make me like? I'm not one that always wants to be sad, so I wanted to make myself happy. I thought maybe I could apply for mass. I wanted marriage. I want marriage. I was looking at that with my ex-partner. That's what I did want. And it took me
mhm.
away like from reality. It just made me live in this bubble of maybe I'll get on a show, and it got me through. And then when I
Yeah.
did get on, I couldn't believe it because I thought a girl from Crew getting on, a TV show.
Yeah. It's like
Um,
the stuff of dreams.
and then obviously I married Thomas, who was really lovely. But when it came to the end, I just tried. And I think when I came home, I realised that actually this I feel isn't my forever person. Like
Okay.
I'm not going to give him 100%, and it's just not right. And
Mhm.
when I came back to London, I did call things off. And after that, I just carried on with my normal life, came home. I was apprehensive about the show airing.
Yeah.
I never knew what was going to come. I never
Oh,
knew the hate that I was going to receive. I never imagined it was ever going to be that tarnishing for my business reputation. I
oh,
never.
bless you.
All I've done in life is try and be a nice, kind person,
Mhm.
try and be like warm and kind and caring.
Yeah.
And I've tried to do that and put that through my business. I've gained
Mhm.
customers because of my character, because of who I am. Like it's all off word, it's of mouth, and it's all off reputation. And
Yeah.
then when people receive you so badly on telly, and all of what you've loved starts crumbling a little bit in the
Oh,
corner, you do start to, think, what have I done? But I do.
oh,
It wasn't a bad thing. The show wasn't bad. I did enjoy it, and I don't regret it. It's
mhm.
grown me as a person. Like the confidence I've got is amazing, and it's made me
Of
realize that I
course.
don't care what anyone says. Honesty is the best policy for me
Yeah.
and for whoever I'm with. Um,
Mhm.
and to be honest, the trolling is a reflection of the trolls. It's
Yeah,
a reflection
100%.
not of yourself. But yeah, it was interesting.
Oh gosh. So how difficult was that for you? Because I can imagine there's probably, women out there that have struggled to end a relationship themselves. How much more pressure did you feel in the fact that you knew that it was in such a public way?
The thing is like I don't know if like I don't know. Of course, I at one point I didn't even know the cameras were there because I'm so wrapped up
Yeah.
in how I felt and how upset I felt and how I knew I was hurting Thomas and how I knew I just the right thing. My morals were telling me to be
Yeah.
honest and be truthful. That I wasn't even thinking about it in the moment of being on TV. I was just
Okay.
thinking about me and him. Um,
Yeah.
but I do now. I've never been on this side really of leaving someone, and now I do fully get it. Like if that person you are with doesn't give you 100%, doesn't prioritize you, doesn't compromise for you, it's not because they're a bad person. It's
Yeah.
because they just can't. And if you're in a
Mhm.
situation where you can't or they can't, it's not healthy. It's going to turn out toxic, and you should not be together.
And it's
You
not
make
healthy for either party, regardless
exactly.
of who feels the most hurt or not.
Exactly. And like sometimes that I've been on the side where I was Thomas and I've been left and I've been dumped and I've been
Mhm.
heartbroken. Why? It was fine. It was perfect. And now on reflection, I'm like, he felt trapped. He felt scared.
Mhm.
Like he didn't want this. Yeah, he did it later than me, but he still came to the terms with the fact that he's going to have to be open and honest and have a scary conversation with me and break my
Yeah.
heart. It's horrible on both sides. Like, for me to do it on TV and for women to see, many, many women did message me saying, you're so brave, you're so courageous, you are inspiration to women, you know, like, and that's how it should be. But many, many men and women did unfortunately, you know, say nasty, cruel, horrible things. But that's just the world. Not everyone's going to agree with you. We all have, you know, opinion. And sometimes I really do think that's a reflection of you.
Yeah, definitely. Because the narrative around women is always to, you know, speak your mind, never do anything that you don't want to do. If you don't want to be with someone, then don't be with them. So to have that much hate for telling the truth and being open and honest as much as you possibly could must have felt really like conflicting for you.
I think as well, the problem is with TV is you see an edited version because you've only got a short time. We were on that couch doing that, you know, dumping for about an hour and a half. You know, it was
Gosh.
intense. They're talking through, why have you come to the decision? And it was a lot emotionally, but you're seeing 2 minutes on telly. So you're seeing clips and it's kind of out of context. You know, like when I said, I don't want to have children with you, there's so much more to that. It's meaning like, unfortunately, I don't see a future with you. And if in my I do see children and you deserve someone that wants that. You deserve someone that is 100% wanting a future with you, Thomas. And unfortunately, I'm not the perfect person. And if I could bring him the perfect person, I would, because he does it. I'm a bad person. It's a bad person. It's not because we're not good enough for each other. It's just I wouldn't give enough. And that's just it is. Sometimes we see so many divorces in society, and it's like it takes so long for people sometimes to either come to the realization or be totally honest and transparent with their partner. And I want to give women to tell them that even though it's really terrifying and the backlash can be horrendous, you will have it for a couple of months and then people get on with their lives.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. It's like yesterday's news, isn't it, after a while?
I was talking to someone the other day and she was saying like about her worries and concerns, and one of them was people's opinions. And I was like, look, I've been there. Yeah, it sucks. It's horrible in the moment and for a month. But tell you now, like, people crack on. They've got more. They're gossiping about someone else the next day.
Exactly. They'll find someone else to talk about for sure, won't they? So although you've definitely been on a journey, Roz, you seem to have learned a lot about your own self as well, and your own strengths, I would say. If you could do it all again, would you do the show?
It's a hard one. I do not regret the show. I don't regret it. It's grown me as a person. And if I now was me, I potentially wouldn't, I don't need to do the show. But before, the old version of me, I felt like it's grown me as a person. So like it's helped me, no matter how hard times were and how bad the trolling was, like I've grown. But then again, on reflection, if I was to grow again a huge amount, would I do the show? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or you could go on amidst celeb instead.
It's all about growing, isn't it? And I think putting yourself out boundaries, maybe not married at first sight, but something else that would make me grow in confidence, make me understand how more resilient you are. You know, the person we were talking before, the person a year ago looking at me now would probably be like, oh my God, well done.
I know. Yeah. It's funny you should say that, actually. I was interviewing, I interviewed Andrea McLean for the podcast, and I had asked her why she went on Celebrity SAS Who Dares Wins. And she said, because I knew that I had something inside myself that I wanted to prove that I could do it. Like I wanted to grow as a person, like test my limitations, test my boundaries. I think a lot of us in different stages of our lives get to that point where it's almost like you just need to do something different.
Yeah, and I think it's like that. You feel like stuck in a box sometimes. It's trying to punch out. And I think doing this TV show was what I needed in that time of my life. Like I do believe it happens for a reason. Like manifestation, the best thing. Like I do believe in that. And it's like the show came to me when it knew I needed it. Like my life I felt was going all pear-shaped, and the show made me realize potentially I became codependent on my last partner. I felt like when he left, how am I going to do life? Like, I'd lost all my independence. And then the
Yeah.
show just showed myself, actually, you can do it. You are doing
Yeah.
it.
And you
So
can do it on your own, which is the most important thing that you've probably learned as well. Like, as a person, you've realized your own strengths, and actually I am independent, and when the time is right for me and when the person is right for me, then that's when it will continue, not because I'm on a TV show.
yeah, that's it. And I've been talking to a friend recently, one of my best friends, and she's a bit down in the dumps, saying, God, we're getting to 30, the pressure of society. I said,
Mhm.
now I see things differently. The only person that's putting pressure on is you. Society
Totally.
don't care where you're at. No one
Mhm.
where you're at. Like, don't also have a bit more self-respect, self-esteem, understand your own worth, and know that if that guy isn't right for me, look, there's millions, billions more of them in the world.
Mhm.
And it's like
Exactly.
knowing self-worth, it's knowing what you're worth. And
Mhm.
it's not that I was settling before, but I just know now what I want.
Yeah.
And it's
And I
not
think
having
that's a huge lesson.
high standards and high expectations. It's
Mhm.
just having self-respect.
Yeah, 100%, definitely. So, Roz, your time on the show and then you returned home because you've got two businesses, haven't you? Could you tell us a bit more about those?
Yeah, so I've got Rozz Flowers, which is my baby, really, because I started that, gosh, that must be like 7 years ago, 7, 8 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, probably a bit longer actually. So yeah, I started up my floristry business, and mum and dad have got like a business park. So it's from
Okay.
the business park. So it's not like got a footfall, it's mainly driven off social media. And
Mhm.
then when COVID hit, it was skyrocket with Brexit, and then everything was just becoming so expensive. The flowers that I was ordering in weren't the best quality, and I
Yeah.
just like, why don't I venture into flower growing? And
Oh.
that flower paddock, which
Mhm.
is my true love, because just year on year I can visually see my growth. Like, the paddock's growing, I've got more
Mhm.
beds, like I've got more plants. You can see like the money in the, where I
Yeah,
feel like as a florist you see, and then the flowers go, and then flowers come in and flowers go.
definitely.
So yeah, I love them. I do love being a flower grower. I feel like I still got a lot to learn, but I'm one of those people that you just got to jump right in,
Yeah.
otherwise there's no point being on the fence with it.
So have you always had a passion for flower growing, floristry? Where does that come from?
So when I first left college, I was a nanny for a
Oh,
family,
okay.
a childcare nanny, and the mum actually was really into, just like, she had sweet peas in the garden. I was always cutting and bringing in, like cutting flowers from the garden and bringing them onto the table and
Oh.
making posies. And I feel like maybe it was stemmed from then. And grandma,
Mhm.
she's a huge inspiration because she's won like gardening competitions, and she's
Oh,
really
wow.
keen into, yeah, her garden's amazing. And I feel like when I finished nannying, I was like, oh, what am I going to do? Like, I felt a bit lost. And dad,
Yeah.
into your flowers, why don't you do a VC floristry course? And
Mhm.
for years, all I've ever been is like, I feel like molded, directed into
Okay.
jobs, because I'm like a wobbler, like I'm a bit airy fairy, I'm generally looking out the window daydreaming. So I feel like for years I've had to have that guidance. I've
Yeah.
never and that's what also I feel like the past year I've realized who I am, what I want
Yeah.
from life.
Mhm.
And that in itself is huge for me, because
It is.
mum and dad may have helped me to where I am today, but now
Mhm.
it's my choices and it's what I want. And generally it comes down to me. The decisions are mine.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah. So yeah, I
So
got into it like that, really.
so what kind of thing do you offer in each of the businesses?
So in the floristry, I have like obviously occasion flowers, thank you bouquets, all that sort of stuff, like
Mhm.
posies. And then I do like wedding flowers, obviously like funeral flowers. I have
Yeah.
where people can buy like fortnightly, weekly, monthly flowers from me. Um
Brilliant.
and yeah, like, and then the flower paddock, I obviously do buckets. Lots of people are liking to do DIY weddings now. So
Yeah.
instead of, yeah, they just come to the paddock, tell me what they like, and we cut the flowers for them. We also do like paddock tours. I run some workshops, especially at Christmas, for like make your own Christmas wreaths. So they come
Brilliant.
to the workshop and we have fun doing that. And then during the summer months, we do like summer workshops. Um,
Okay.
and then I got some exciting. There's like an event that's happening in the end of April.
Yeah.
With two ladies on, so I'll do like demonstrations, and yeah, we'll have like cakes and do talks, and so that'll be really fun.
Oh,
I
it
think like,
sounds fun.
yeah. And I think before a year ago, I probably wouldn't have. Well, I did do talks, but not on that scale, with like
Mhm.
videographers. And I feel like that's where I've grown in confidence, that I can hold a room of ladies and gentlemen, just people,
Yeah.
and be able to demonstrate and tell them, I don't know everything in floristry, but that's what's nice, because it's like not.
Mhm.
I'm not oozing like arrogance and confidence. I'm just oozing a slight bit of knowledge and hopefully charismatic person to demonstrate.
Yeah, definitely. Like, your energy is so positive. I'm not surprised that people kind of like being around you, because it's a real kind of happy vibe as well. And you can just tell from the way that you're talking when you talk about your businesses that they are so fueled with passion. It's unreal.
Yeah, I do love them. And I feel like that's why, because I'm so passionate about the business, like any knockback, any step back, any like frustration of not being able to get out of a pattern, or,
Yeah.
strive for more, it's frustrating, because it's like I've got all that energy, I've got the passion for it, I've
Mhm.
got the drive for it.
Yeah.
So, like, just,
I
branch
need to
out.
make it happen.
Yeah. I want to be driving around in a Ferrari.
Yeah, definitely. So what's the big dream when it comes to your businesses? Have you thought about, like, what if you could wave a magic wand, what do you see happening in the future for them?
I feel like with my business, really, I am a simple girl at heart. Like, I just want it to be, not just me on my own, a
Yeah.
handful at least of people that can help maybe take off the pressure in areas like someone running social media, someone
Mhm.
in the paddock sorting all the growing and the dividing, and all those jobs take time. A
Yeah.
delivery driver, make sure that the business is. I really would like some big contact, big
Mhm.
contracts, people that are wanting me to generate every month, every week,
Yeah.
have, a more stable income for the business,
Mhm.
and be one day, own a helicopter. It's not much to ask.
No, next they can park it next to the Ferrari, can't you? Dear me. What's been your biggest challenge though, Roz, would you say, so far in your businesses?
My biggest challenge was, I know it's going to sound weird, but when I obviously have my own house, and obviously
Mhm.
when my ex left me, it was that unsettled feeling of my business now has to generate a wage for me, look
Yeah.
after the house, look after the dogs, be totally sufficient, and be totally
Financially
like,
independent.
just me. And that
Mhm.
terrified, the thought of not having just someone to lean on,
Yeah.
someone to half the bills and take that pressure off, was really
Mhm.
terrifying. And I feel sometimes I'm so grateful, I'm so lucky, I appreciate like everything I've got in my life. Like, I love this house, but what comes with a house is bills. What
Yeah.
comes with a responsibility. And sometimes stress is huge, because
Mhm.
so easy just go get a job, work, for someone else,
Yeah.
and be settled. And I think sometimes I am appreciative and I am grateful. Um, but sometimes being appreciative and grateful doesn't bring the money in. You've got to work
Yeah,
hard
I
and
know what you mean.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. But then it's like, once you've experienced being a business owner, then if you were to go into employment, I think you'd be missing that spark. I think we all have it in us when we've had our own businesses or got our own businesses. It's kind of like, to then work for somebody else must feel like so restrictive.
I know, because that's what I feel. I feel like I couldn't now
Mhm.
go to someone else, because it's like all of what I've put into my business is blood, sweat,
Yeah.
graft, hard work. I couldn't just drop it. I'd feel
Mhm.
like everything then from my life. And I know it sounds dramatic, but I'd feel like my whole purpose in my life for the past 8 to 10 years has been my business. And if
Yeah.
I was to let that go, it puts a whole load of sadness into my heart. I couldn't do
Yeah.
it.
I can even, like, tell right now, like, even at the thought.
the fright of that, and it terrifies me. That thought does go through my head, and that thought terrifies me, and I feel like sometimes it's a shadow following me, and I'm running as fast as I can into the sun. And it's because obviously, as a business owner, that's always a scare. It's got to be.
Of course.
So yeah, all I ever dream for is for my business to just really take off, and you know.
That's amazing, and I'm sure it will, definitely.
Yeah.
So what's immediately next for you? Have you maybe had different opportunities that you can now take up since being on television, or have we got anything kind of coming up in that sense?
There's been talks. There's been like a few talks about, like potentially not programs, but like a channel where we talk about what I'm growing, and hopefully maybe with mental health, because like obviously being a flower grower and being outdoors is so good for mental health. It's a nice space, it's like free noise. So I think it would be great if we could partner that up with like adults and males, anyone in a position where they're not 100%. And also like you do give off a positive energy, that if you are around positive people, it can hopefully bring a positive vibe, well. So hopefully, potentially, but you never know with these things, do you? You never know if they're going to come alive or not. But yeah,
exactly. But I definitely think, I'm pretty sure GPs now are offering more holistic therapies, in a sense of, I think they encourage people to like do stuff that makes them happy, like go fishing or go for walks, that kind of thing. Whereas before it was like, right, medication. But I think they're starting to see the longer term benefits on people's mental health of actually being outside.
Yeah, I think it's huge. Like for me, it's huge just being out. I don't know if I could sit in a job looking at it, even just posture, exercise as well. Like people are like, oh, you eat so much. Like, how do you not put weight on? And I'm like, babes, I think
I'm moving around all the fields. I don't sit still, me.
Really look, digging out plants, like it's physical. And because it's physical, it takes your mind off, because all you're thinking about is, I want this plant up because I'm knackered. So I think like it would be really lovely if we could do something like that, because I know like it is out of the box, but it's something that is
needed.
Yeah
100%. So if people want to find your businesses, and if people want to follow you, how can they find you?
So I've got my website, which is www.roslins.co.uk, and then on Instagram I'm Roslyn's Flowers, or the Flower Paddock, and then I've got Facebook as well. And yeah, I think that's about it, because it's mainly social media driven. It's through there, but it's not been too bad. It's not doing bad. Like my followers are going up, my engagement's okay on the accounts. I feel like it's constantly trying to engage with everyone to say, what do you want to see? What do you want to learn from me? What videos would you like to do? And I think it's just trying to rebuild that connection. Sometimes with the website, it takes that away. It takes that personal conversation.
Definitely.
So like when it comes to the subscriptions, I do want them to contact me via the contact form, because it's nice to have a conversation about these things, because it's like, well, what flowers do you each week? Would you like them? What date would you like them?
What colours do you like? What colours make you happy? Have you got a favourite flower, like of a relative? Or there's loads, isn't there? It is a personal thing.
Yeah, because that's what I love about the wedding flowers. When people come to the paddock, we can chat about, like, they see flowers that they don't necessarily know the name of, but they can say, that's the one they like. And then I'm like, oh, that's a cosmos, or that's, so it's nice, because it builds relationships that are, even people come to me for funeral flowers, and obviously it's awful and tragic and sad, but then when they've been round, it's like it's connected them, because they're like, oh, my dad loved being in the garden, my dad grew this. And it's nice, because I feel like they leave, and in just for a moment, just a bubble, it's okay, and then obviously you go back to reality. But it's nice sometimes for people to escape around the paddock.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with floristry in particular, you have that privilege where you are a part of of the best and worst times of people's lives when they need the most support. So
Yeah.
so to offer not only the product that you're offering, to offer that compassion and that outside space must feel pretty special.
Well, it's empathy towards others. Like, you
Mhm.
know, I am a really smiley, I'd like to think happy, like giggly person. And I am that obviously when I cry when they cry, but just
Oh,
at the end we are smiling because it's like in memory of, like, we were so
yeah.
lucky to know of them. We had so many beautiful times with them, and I think it,
Mhm.
sometimes it just a moment changing something that's so horrible to something so beautiful. But
Yeah.
like, oh, you can only have bubbles of that because it's horrible. You think, why has this happened? Why is this happening to me? And
Yeah.
it's knowing that because you've been through it, you can empathize with them. And it's just nice having sometimes bubbles of moments of happiness
Mhm.
in such a sad time. And I think, like, it's nice to see them
Yeah.
smiling when, you know, their heart hurts.
Oh, definitely. Well, Roz, I never want you to lose your passion for your business because that is what I believe is going to be the key to your ultimate success. And I think when businesses are born from a passion and from a need and from a want, it's so personal. And that is when businesses succeed the most because you're emotionally invested in it and you're super passionate about it as well.
Well, that's it. I feel like every day I go to dad and I say, like, list positives. I want negatives of what's happened of the day. I
Yeah.
don't. I'm just like, well, this happened. This contact messaged me. This came back. I've had this email. I've had this wedding, and it's like just listing off all the positives of your business every day
Mhm.
for me is so helpful because I've
Yeah.
even started writing them down because I do feel when you do have such a passion, you put so much pressure on yourself, and you can so
100%.
flip. It could
Mhm.
change passion to just feeling like, you know, you're gonna
Yeah.
fail.
And it's like we were talking about earlier before we started recording, it's like 1,000 people could say to you lovely things, but you will still our brains ultimately just focus on the negative because that's the natural reaction for some reason. But it's about kind of shove that one out and just concentrating on the good stuff.
Yeah, because if I have one negative come, if I have one negative, it's like the world's ended. It's like
Yes.
someone punched a child. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, Ross, calm down. That's where passion is. That's
Yeah.
where the drive for success is. That's where it's
Mhm.
like, you know, the worry of, oh,
Mhm.
that was awful. That was, but it's like, well, look at the 10 good. So I've started to
Yeah.
try that. And I think sometimes that in growing up, in confidence, in
Mhm.
business, we were saying before about the girl 10 years ago looking at me now,
Yeah.
which, like, wow, but that's
Yeah,
just what
she'd be
it,
so proud.
yeah, I feel like 10 years ago I would have probably wouldn't have thought I would be,
Mhm.
do you know what I mean, doing this, but
Yeah. And I think as well though, when stuff like that happens, because we're so passionate about it and because we work for ourselves, it's almost like a personal attack when
yeah,
sometimes it isn't. It's just like, I don't know, the product wasn't what they were looking for or something, but because we feel it so innately, because we're so intertwined in our own businesses, it does feel personal and it is hard to get over.
yeah, we're like, they hate me. It's like a few years ago, I would have thought that. I would have thought, like,
Mhm.
they, but obviously, I was saying before, recently I've had an encounter with a customer, and they've obviously been disappointed with my behaviour on the show, being
Mhm.
honest. And yeah, that really, it upset me in the moment. And then I realised, well, if you 10 years ago, that girl would have been mortified and crying and
Yeah.
upset. And now I think, okay, well, if that's how you're gonna judge me as a person off
Mhm.
TV, off a narrative and a character that they've kind of portrayed, then
Yeah.
do you actually know, one, who I am, like, who
Mhm.
on my social media?
Yeah.
And I disconnected myself from it because I thought it didn't upset me as much as it would have, because I realize now who I
That's
am,
good.
what I
Yeah.
am. And sometimes you've just got to, otherwise it'll just pull you down. Right?
Mhm. And I think the other thing that we've got to, like, really accept is that we don't like everybody. There are certain people that we don't like, so we can't expect everybody to like
So,
us either. It's hard, but it's just not possible. You know.
I don't know why it's not possible when you're looking at perfection. Yeah, not everyone in this world is going to like you. And I think that's been a big
Yeah.
learning. I was so naive probably a year ago, thinking,
Mhm.
everyone loves each other. And I was
Yeah.
sheltered from the world of trolling. And now
Mhm.
really wide eyed to what the
Yeah.
world is about.
Oh, well, I cannot wait to see what happens for you, Roz. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you. And everybody, get on her websites and get ordering some of these gorgeous flowers.
I know, please order now.
Multiple, if you like.
Transport deliver wherever you want me to be. I will come.
Yeah,
I,
and she'll come on her own.
I'll have a Ferrari. I'll be as fast as I can.
But if you live over water, she can take her helicopter.
But no, honestly, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I'm excited for the future.
Yeah, it's been lovely. Well, I shall chat to you soon. I'll put all the links in the show notes. And you take care. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much. Bye.
Bye.